Hi everyone, I'm Ananya Mariam Rajesh, the Associate Sub-Editor at Fibre2Fashion, and I have with us Ramesh and Mukesh ji from Banswara. Ramesh sir is the Assistant Vice President of Exports and Mukesh sir is a GM Exports. Thank you sir, thank you for joining us. One of my first questions to Banswara would be, you export to more than 50 countries. Which is your strongest market today, given the changing geopolitical landscape?
Banswara is, as you rightly said, is active in more than 50 countries. We export to more than 50 countries. And as a strategy, we've keep our export basket diversified.
Yeah.
We don't concentrate too much into one specific pocket. So we are equally distributed across the globe. And some of our strongest markets are USA, UK, Japan. It's also one of our. Then a lot of Middle Eastern countries, who are traditional buyers from the Indian market. Our business in some very specific high niche or very competitive markets like Germany is growing. Far East is growing very fast for us. What do you say, Mukesh? Yeah, I think Far East is growing because we are getting advantage of the FTA what the government
Yes.
is having right now, and we are very well like developing the product as per the market needs and trying to explore some new geographies from India where the exports can be increased substantially. So
Got it.
we're trying to work with the Far Eastern country, like we said, the new countries, especially the Japan, South Korea, eastern part of the Europe, which has not been explored from the Indian supply chain.
Nice.
So we are trying to target all these new geographies and create an impression there.
So you mentioned about Middle East. It's one of your strongest market, but currently, due to the war in itself, the last 6 months has been a little bit, wonky for the entire global market. How is Banaswara handling this? And if there were challenges, how did you, work around it?
You see, this was a challenge which came unannounced, and it was out of the blues,
Yeah.
and the entire world is facing this challenge. It's not only for the exporters, even for the companies that are based in those countries. The importers were facing this issue because they need a lot of goods, which they
Yeah.
don't produce themselves for consumption. So it's a problem that not just the exporters from our country or other countries, even the importers are trying to overcome.
Oh,
And a lot of countries, they try to work around some alternative ports, small ports. And as days are progressing, everybody's trying to find solutions to that. But again, as I said, because we keep our portfolio diversified, so within the Middle East, we also work with some, we work with countries where the transportation was not such a big issue. Of course, everything was affected because of the
suddenly.
shipping lines getting disturbed and the shipping routes getting disturbed. So this is something that you have to, take it as it comes. And every day we try to find solutions to these problems. And as they say, something that cannot be cured has to be endured.
Yeah. So how did you endure would be my next question, Costs were going up, so did you have to work around it or pass it on, or what were customers at that point talking to you about?
See, the customers were also trying to find solution because, as I said, even they are in need
Indeed.
of these goods because they are not the countries who have traditional manufacturing bases. So some countries were trying to get it, like partially to certain ports and then by road,
Yeah.
or like get it via some aerial routes. So whatever was urgent for them, whatever was necessary for them, so they were trying to get it through alternative routes. But as I said, something is beyond your control. So what you have to do is just be patient. And the government, thankfully, also was trying their best. They were trying to give solutions and support to exporters, in terms of additional finance lines and all those facilities. So the government also came forward and helped the exporters in trying to be in control of the situation.
Got it. And when we talk about today's situation, one other thing that's become reality is sustainability is becoming a compliance need. We need, a lot more people involved in, say, DPP, EPR related regulations in India today. So, what are your thoughts about that, and how is, say, Banswara placed to, meet those compliance requests?
I would let Mukesh update you on this. With regard to the sustainability, when you say like
pioneer player in the man-made industry. And when you talk about Banswara, we were the first one to install a complete in-house ETP,
Okay.
effluent treatment plant in Rajasthan when it was not mandatory also.
Okay.
So the rules came later on, but we were very like visionary in terms of meeting all those compliance. And we also right now, as far as sustainability is concerned, all the fibers, the polyester what we are using is almost like more than 90% we are trying to use it from the recycled source.
Yeah.
So that's another like the strategy what we are trying to do in terms of our product development and offer a sustainable supply chain to the people who want to source the man-made fabrics from India.
Okay.
In terms of energy consumption, again, we are going sustainable. We are trying to increase our consumption from the renewable sources like solar. Almost like 15% of energy of our current consumption comes from renewable energy. We are slowly trying to phase wise to increase that consumption.
I understand.
And also in our thermal power plant, we are trying to move towards the biomass fuel rather than the coal in a stepwise manner. We have a complete 3 or 4 year plan where we try to go carbon neutral in the coming years. That's what the brand wants. So like I said, like if the brand is focusing on sustainability and if they are looking for the carbon neutral goal by 2030, then we are the right partner for them from India.
So just to add to what Mukesh said, because Banswara has always been, the top exporter from India on synthetic fabrics and yarns and garments, and we've been working in evolved markets, where all these requirements came into force much earlier.
Yes.
So Banswara was exposed to these ideas much earlier than the other Indian manufacturers, because we've been very strong in US, Europe,
Yeah.
and Japan, and also the promoters of the company. When they were exposed to these ideas, they thought it is not just a compliance requirement. They also think of this as our own responsibility, of being sustainable and offering a better future to the
Yeah.
coming generations, and not just as a part of compliance, but as we see it as part of our corporate responsibility, that we adopt more sustainable manufacturing practices and we adopt more sustainable raw materials.
Understood. And so, when you talk about sustainable raw materials, and you're beginning with sustainable fabrics also, how does that play, say, with the natural fabrics today? Are you seeing your portfolio lean more into any one of those segments as you go forth in the next few years?
I would say the demand grows in both the segments. Natural, of course, has always been in demand,
Yes.
but with the raw material prices of cotton and linen and wools, which go up during the seasons, it sometimes become very difficult for brands or like mid-level brands to adopt those kind of raw
Raw
materials.
materials.
So that's why people then go in for alternatives. So again, as an innovative mill, we do a lot of synthetic fabrics with raw materials
Okay.
which are sustainable, but which gives more natural feel, hand feel, and performances. Which is closer to the natural fibers and
Fibers.
fabrics. So we keep innovating and we keep offering solutions to buyers' requirements, and we also drive buyers to think the way we want them to
Them.
think about the future of fashion.
What do you think is the future of fashion then today?
The future of fashion, at least in India, is very, very promising. We see that at least next one decade, India is going to see an exponential growth in the textile segment, in the fashion segment. The government of the day has been very aggressive in promoting India as a very reliable textile destination, and you see this show also, which has been
Yeah.
growing very well for over last 3 years, and we definitely see a very, very bright future for textile and fashion in India for at least over next one decade.
Got it. Mukesh, you mentioned about the FTAs. That's open opportunities and especially to the Far East. We had the UK FTA go in place, just 2 days ago. And you have the European Union one coming up. Australia is set up. You already have the Japan-based, market also. How are you viewing FTA in the next growth phase? It's opening opportunities, but what is the growth you're aiming there?
So the growth will be substantial. It's not only the FTA. The people have been talking about China plus one for quite a long
Yes.
period of time. Like in fact, almost the last 4 5 years we have been hearing about China plus one. And then the government is doing very stepwise, like they're doing now FTA. In 1 or 2 years, you will have FTA in place. Then your China plus one, where the Chinese costs are going to increase.
Yes.
And then you have FTA, where you can compete with the LDC countries like the Bangladesh, Sri Lanka in terms of offering the full product from India government, not only the raw material, fabric or the yarn. So right now you see the Indian export category in textile is hardly $40 billion, out of which is almost like it's all fabrics and yarn. The garment is almost $17 billion.
Yes.
So we see huge potential in the value addition segment once the FTA happens. The garmenting business from India can increase from 17 to be 50 or 60, which is the plan of the government. That's how government is aiming $100 billion export industry in the textile. So we are hopeful that the FTA and with the kind of product engineering what we are doing, and we are at the right place because people are trying to move away from China to find an alternative supply chain. And with India having an abundance of raw material, abundance of people, abundance of skill, I think we are at the right place at the right time, and the FTAs are happening at the right time. So we are looking forward to it.
Thank you. And just to touch on the biggest market being US, US has been a bit up and down with the tariff situation. So how has that been for Banswara, and how are you tackling that and going forward?
See, US has been one of our very strong markets, and as I said, something just comes up overnight. We are all in a very turbulent geopolitical times, so we have to remain relevant, to the buyers, to the market, and buyers also, they've been working with us for decades, so they understand that. As much as it is an exporter's problem, it is also an importer's problem,
Yes.
right? Because they have been based into this, and overnight they cannot change the supply chains. So together, we find solutions, the buyers and the sellers, and we've been surviving and growing. We in fact see our US business
In fact,
going
after
up
the
this
telecom,
year.
US business is growing. That's strange.
Okay.
Because
Strangely, our business this year is better than what it was
in the last
in the
year.
previous year.
Okay. I think that's a very different take, right?
Yeah. So I think that's what we have been talking. Like when you talk about Banswara, we have been investing in sustainability. We have been investing in product re-engineering. We are trying to use the best quality recycled polyester available from the country. We are using the best wool from merino from Australia. We are the only company in India who has invested in the worsted wool spinning in the current time.
Yes.
So I think all these things makes us like a unique partner for the brand in terms of supply chain, because tariffs are short term.
Yes.
People are seeing Banswara as a long term partner who can support their brand's journey and history.
Tariffs are very short lived at this point of time, I think.
Right, and to just sum it up, it's the innovation
Yeah.
that keeps you ahead of
Yes,
the
indeed.
race. So Banswara as a mill has been one of the most innovative mill on the suiting segment, if I would say, the bottom weight and the jackets, fabric and garments that we do. So innovation has been keeping us ahead of the curve, basically. And buyers, they always need newness, they always need innovation in the fabric. And if they have to pay tariff, they have to pay tariff because they cannot manufacture right now in their own countries.
Yeah, I think that's a reality at this point. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much, Mukeshji. Lovely talking to you all. I hope you guys have a good day.
Thank you, Ananya.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.